All right, so get ready because today we are going to dive deep, deep into Scientific Healing Affirmations by Paramahansa Yogananda. We're looking at excerpts from the 2024 edition,
How cool.
which includes a foreword that brings it right into the modern day.
Yeah.
So this book was actually published way back in 1924.
Wow.
And it explores how our thoughts, our words, and even our beliefs can really impact both our physical and our mental healing.
It's pretty amazing how ahead of his time Yogananda was.
Yeah.
You know what he was saying back then about the mind-body connection? It really aligns with a lot of the scientific discoveries that are happening right now.
Totally.
Things like the placebo effect.
Yeah.
And even epigenetics.
It's almost like he had like a sneak peek into the future of science or something.
I know, it's really wild.
So in this deep dive, we are going to break down some of the core concepts of Yogananda's teachings, as well as like the foreword's insights. And we're going to try to give you, the listener, kind of a toolkit for understanding your own well-being and maybe even learning how to influence it.
I like it.
Yeah.
So Yogananda's central belief is that words have power.
Okay.
Especially when they're spoken with sincerity and conviction and faith.
Mm-hmm.
He believed that they could be like highly explosive vibration bombs.
Wow. Okay.
Strong enough to overcome all sorts of difficulties.
That's a pretty intense image.
Yeah.
But he also points out that most people, they just speak in such a lifeless and automatic way. And so their words just don't have that force.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because they're not really tapping into that deeper power within themselves. It's not just about, like, saying positive things. It's about the energy and the intention behind the words.
So it's more than just, like, positive thinking, right? It's, like, truly believing in your own healing potential and aligning, like, your thoughts and your words and your actions with that belief.
Exactly. And this kind of leads into another really crucial point, which is the balance between relying on a higher power, which Yogananda refers to as cosmic consciousness or God, and taking personal responsibility.
This is where things get interesting, I think. He's saying that we should rely on that higher power, but not become passive.
Exactly.
We have to do our part, too.
Right.
It's not just, like, wishing for a miracle. It's about, like, actively participating in the healing process.
And part of that is understanding your own personality.
Okay.
Yogananda believes that different affirmations require different mental approaches.
So give me an example.
So, like, will affirmations need strong willpower? Well, feeling affirmations might need more devotion.
Oh, okay. So it's about tailoring the practice to your unique temperament.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, what about chronic diseases? Yogananda says that these are often rooted in the subconscious mind.
Yeah, he noticed that people tend to focus on the disease's grip on them.
Yeah.
Which actually ends up reinforcing it mentally.
Oh, interesting.
Especially with things like nervousness.
So the more you dwell on the problem, the more it becomes entrenched in your subconscious.
Exactly.
Wow.
So Yogananda's solution was to use affirmations that are so strong that they actually become subconscious habits. And these habits then automatically start to influence the conscious mind and the body, creating this feedback loop of healing.
So you're essentially like reprogramming your subconscious to promote healing.
Yeah.
That's powerful stuff. He also talks about reaching what he calls the superconscious.
Yes.
And I've heard this described as like a source of incredible power.
Right.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So the superconscious is like a higher level of awareness. It's beyond, our everyday thoughts and worries of the conscious mind. And Yogananda believes that by going deeper with our affirmations, we can tap into this source of like limitless potential.
Okay, so now we're getting into like some pretty mind-blowing territory.
Yeah. Right.
But what about the more practical side of healing? What about things like medicine or surgery?
Well, Yogananda actually acknowledges the value of those external methods.
Okay.
Especially, when we're dealing with the limitations of our material world. He sees them as assisting the life energy within to do the actual healing.
Okay, so when you say life energy, what do you mean by that?
Well, he's talking about that vital force, that spark that animates and heals the body. He uses this really compelling analogy. He says that these external methods are like tools. They're useful, but they're powerless on a dead body.
Oh, wow.
Because there's no life energy left to work with.
Right. So it's not about rejecting those external methods, but understanding that they're ultimately working by influencing this internal life force.
Precisely. And that's where his concept of cure according to temperament comes in.
Okay.
Yogananda believes that not everyone responds to the same healing approaches.
Right.
So we really need to find what works best for us individually.
I remember him giving examples, like how intellectual types need to understand the why.
Right.
You know, strong-willed people need to engage their will.
Exactly.
And then emotional types might respond better to, like, intense feeling.
He even cites William James,
Yeah.
who's a famous psychologist who did these experiments with hypnosis. And he showed that the mind could actually cause physical changes, like blisters.
Wow.
So if the mind can cause harm, it can also cause healing.
You know what? That reminds me of something that happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
I used to get terrible seasickness. But I was on this one trip, and I got so sick.
Oh, no.
And after I got sick, I just, like, decided I wasn't going to accept it anymore. I was just like, I'm never going to get seasick again. And I willed myself to never get seasick again. And guess what?
What?
I never got seasick again.
Wow. That's amazing.
Not even on, like, really rough seas where everybody else was, like, you know, green in the face. Pure willpower.
That's a perfect example of what Yogananda is talking about. We have more power within us than we realize.
And it shows that this isn't some mystical concept, right? That's, like, out of reach. It's really about understanding the mind-body connection and using that knowledge to our advantage.
Exactly. And speaking of powerful concepts, we have to talk about the role of faith in Yogananda's teachings. So he believed that instantaneous healing is possible, but that the timing isn't always predictable. Faith was the key, not time.
He said that disbelief prevents the life energy from awakening, and that it takes effort and attention to cultivate that faith.
It does. And he also acknowledged that chronic conditions take time to heal.
Right.
Because the brain cells are grooved with those disease patterns, and to regroove them takes consistent effort.
Patience and persistence.
Yeah.
But Yogananda goes beyond just healing the physical body, right?
Yes, he does.
He talks about 3 types of healing.
Yeah, he addresses bodily diseases, but he also talks about psychological diseases like fear and anger, and even spiritual diseases.
Spiritual diseases. What do you mean by that?
Well, things like ignorance or living a purposeless life, being disconnected from your true nature. He believes that we need to address all 3 for genuine well-being.
And I think that's a crucial point because we often focus so much on just physical health because it's, like, tangible. But the mental and spiritual well-being, they're just as important.
If not more so.
So how can we prevent these diseases?
Well, Yogananda offers advice for each type. So for physical health, he emphasizes aligning with what he calls God's material laws.
So things like not overeating, practicing good hygiene.
Yeah, and conserving physical energy.
That sounds like common sense to me.
It is. But he also, he delves into some, like, really fascinating territory. Like his advice on preventing aging. He believed that by mastering our life energy, we could potentially even control death itself.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So he points out that while other organs rest during sleep, the heart is constantly working.
Right.
And he believes that this constant effort leads to wear and tear. And eventually death. But he points to the possibility of mastering what he calls the big sleep.
Oh, okay. I remember reading something about
how
the heart never truly rests.
Yeah. So the big sleep is this conscious experience of death, where even the heart rests.
Wow.
And he even connects this to a quote from St. Paul in the Bible, where St. Paul says, "I protest by the rejoicing that I have in Christ, I die daily." And Yogananda interprets this to mean that the peace found in Christ consciousness rests or stops the heart.
Wow, that is deep. It seems like he's suggesting that by mastering our life energy, we could have incredible control over our physical existence.
Exactly. He saw incredible potential within each of us, potential that goes far beyond what we typically imagine.
So we've covered a lot here already, you know, from the power of words and faith to understanding our unique temperament, and the importance of a holistic approach to healing. But before we get too overwhelmed, can you remind our listeners about Yogananda's stance on the different approaches to healing?
Sure.
Did he think one was better than another?
Well, he actually took a very balanced approach. He acknowledged the value of external methods like medicine, especially, material consciousness is strong. But he always emphasized that they work by influencing the internal life energy.
Okay.
So directly working with that life energy is ultimately superior.
So it's not about rejecting one approach for another,
Right.
but understanding that they're all interconnected.
Exactly. He even uses this analogy of a broken arm.
Okay.
He says, if you break your arm, don't wait for God to fix it when a doctor, a child of God, can use their skill.
Right.
It's a very practical viewpoint.
So it's about using the best tools available,
Yeah.
whether they're like physical or mental.
Now, how about the debate between matter and spirit? Where did Yogananda stand on that?
He rejected the hard line between the two.
Okay.
He believed that spirit became matter through stages. So they're fundamentally connected. Matter is an expression of spirit.
So you can't have one without the other.
Right. But he also cautioned against denying the existence of matter while still being engrossed in it. He believed that that leads to fanaticism.
It's like saying, enjoy your steak dinner before you decide to deny matter altogether.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a scientific process to transcending material consciousness.
So how does all of this tie into his teachings on healing?
Well, he breaks it down further
Yeah.
by explaining that the body is made up of layers of vibration.
Yeah.
You have the flesh, you have the life current, and then you have this subtle human consciousness, which is usually cut off from the unchanging cosmic consciousness.
Okay, so the goal is to shift our attention away from those grosser vibrations of the body.
Towards the subtler, more stable ones of the cosmic consciousness.
Precisely. And that brings us to the practice of chanting.
Ah, yes. I remember reading about this.
Yeah.
He talks about how it's not just about the words themselves.
Right, it's about the stages of chanting.
Yeah.
Going from loud to whisper to mental to subconscious to superconscious.
Right, and the key point being that it's not about like becoming unconscious.
Exactly.
But reaching this like really deep focused awareness where all thought merges into one.
Exactly. And he even directs your attention to specific areas of the body for different affirmations. So like the heart for feeling affirmations, the medulla for energy affirmations, and the spot between the eyebrows for will affirmations.
So we're not just like disembodied minds floating around.
Right.
Our physical bodies are an integral part of this process.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful, but I think we need to pause here and everything sink in a little bit.
I agree. Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
And there's still more to explore, including the modern perspective on Yogananda's teachings. That's presented in the foreword.
So don't go anywhere, listeners. We'll be back soon with part 2 of our deep dive into scientific healing affirmations.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Paramahansa Yogananda's scientific healing affirmations. We left off talking about Yogananda's ideas about life energy and the interconnectedness of different healing methods. So now let's kind of shift gears a little bit and take a look at the foreword of this 2024 edition.
So the foreword, it's written by Sayer G.
Okay.
And it gives us this like really fresh, modern perspective on Yogananda's teachings, showing how they connect with current scientific discoveries in fields like quantum physics and epigenetics.
Yeah, it's incredible how much Yogananda intuitively understood about the mind-body connection.
I know, right?
That science is only now beginning to validate.
It's really fascinating.
For our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with some of those terms.
Can you give us like some examples of how Yogananda was ahead of his time?
Sure. So take the placebo effect, for instance.
Okay.
This is where simply believing that a treatment will work can actually cause measurable physiological changes in the body, sometimes even putting certain diseases into remission.
So you're telling me that just the power of belief can have a real impact on our physical health?
Absolutely. And then there's the flip side of that, which is called the nocebo effect.
Yeah.
And this is where negative beliefs and expectations can actually trigger harmful symptoms and worsen disease.
Wait, so our thoughts can literally make us sick?
Unfortunately, yes. There was even a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine that found a drastically increased risk of heart-related death in patients who were diagnosed with cancer within a week of receiving the news.
Wow. That's a sobering thought.
It is.
So how does this all relate back to Yogananda's teachings?
Well, Yogananda understood this this dual nature of the mind. Its power to both heal and harm, long before these scientific studies were conducted.
So he was basically advocating for a more conscious and deliberate approach to our thoughts and beliefs.
Exactly.
Recognizing that they have a real impact on our well-being.
Yes. He believed that if we can cultivate positive thoughts, beliefs, and intentions, then we can harness the power of our minds to promote healing and well-being.
But he also recognized that it's not always easy to just, switch our thinking from negative to positive, right? Especially if we're dealing with, chronic conditions or, really deeply ingrained negative patterns.
Of course. And that's where the specific practices that he outlines in Scientific Healing Affirmations come in. The affirmations, the visualizations, the meditative techniques that he teaches, they're all designed to help us reprogram our minds and cultivate a more healing consciousness.
So it's not just about positive thinking.
Right.
It's about actively engaging with our minds.
Yes.
Using specific tools and techniques to shift our thought patterns towards healing.
Precisely. It takes effort.
Yeah.
It takes dedication, and it takes a willingness to really look inward.
It's like embarking on a journey of self-discovery and transformation.
That's a great way to put it. It's a journey that ultimately leads to connecting with our true nature as spiritual beings.
Speaking of journeys, life itself is quite a journey.
Right.
Filled with ups and downs.
Absolutely.
So what does Yogananda have to say about dealing with challenges that seem beyond our control, like serious illness or the loss of a loved one?
Well, Yogananda acknowledges that life is full of challenges, and suffering is a part of the human experience.
So he's not suggesting that we just, ignore those difficulties or pretend that everything is always perfect?
Not at all.
Okay.
He's very realistic about the nature of life. But he also believes that even in the midst of suffering, we can find peace and even joy.
But how is that possible when you're going through something really difficult?
Well, Yogananda encourages us to shift our perspective.
Okay.
To see challenges as opportunities for growth, and to cultivate a deep sense of faith in the divine order of the universe.
So it's about trusting that even when things seem bad, there's a higher purpose at play.
Yes. And this doesn't mean denying our feelings or pretending everything is okay.
Right.
It's about acknowledging our pain and suffering, while simultaneously holding on to the belief that we are not alone, that there's a higher power guiding and supporting us.
That's a really powerful concept, finding that balance between acceptance and faith.
Yeah.
Acknowledging the reality of our situation, but trusting in something bigger than ourselves.
He actually refers to this as spiritual success,
which
he defines as consciously connecting with cosmic consciousness and maintaining peace and poise, even when you're faced with difficult events.
So it's about finding that unshakable inner peace that transcends our external circumstances.
Exactly. And Yogananda even provides us with a specific affirmation to cultivate this spiritual success.
Oh, I'm all ears.
He suggests affirming, "Thou art knowledge, and thou dost know the cause and end of all things. I am thy child. I want to know life's true mystery, life's true joyous duty. Thy knowledge in me shall show all things that thou dost know, that thou dost know."
Wow, there's so much depth and wisdom packed into those few lines.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that even when we don't understand why things are happening, there's a higher intelligence at work.
And by connecting with that higher intelligence, we can find the guidance and support we need to navigate even the most challenging situations.
So it seems like Yogananda's approach is about surrendering to something bigger than ourselves, while simultaneously taking responsibility for our own thoughts, feelings, and actions.
It's delicate balance. But that's the essence of his teachings. And he also stresses the importance of understanding the laws that govern our lives, both material and spiritual.
He believed that by understanding and aligning ourselves with these laws,
we could create a more harmonious and fulfilling life.
Right. But he also cautions against blindly following rules or dogmas. He encourages us to think for ourselves and develop our own understanding of truth.
So it's about using our reason and intuition.
Yes.
Not just blindly accepting what others tell us.
He actually provides several affirmations for developing reason and wisdom, and I find this one particularly inspiring.
Okay, let's hear it.
It goes, "In wisdom's chambers thou dost roam, thou art the reason in me. O thou dost roam and wake, each lazy little cell of brain to receive the good that mind and senses give, the knowledge that thou dost give. Myself will think, myself will reason, I want trouble thee for thought, but lead thou, when reason errs, to its goal, lead it right."
It's beautiful how he encourages us to, tap into our own inner wisdom, but also acknowledge the importance of seeking guidance from a higher power.
It's about finding that sweet spot between self-reliance and surrender.
So we're not meant to be passive recipients of knowledge.
But active participants in the process of discovering truth.
Exactly. And that requires cultivating curiosity, questioning our assumptions, and having a deep respect for the mystery and wonder of life.
Now, Yogananda also provides specific affirmations for achieving both material and spiritual success.
Yes, he does. So for material success, he encourages us to see ourselves as children of God, inheriting the abundance of the universe. And his affirmation for material success is, "Thou art my Father, success and joy. I am thy child, success and joy. All the wealth of this earth, all the riches of the universe belong to thee, belong to thee. I am thy child, the wealth of earth and universe belongs to me, belongs to me. Oh, belongs to me, belong to me. I lived in thoughts of poverty and wrongly fancied I was poor, so I was poor. Now I am home, and thy consciousness has made me wealthy, made me rich. I am success, I am rich, thou art my treasure, I am rich, I am rich. Thou art everything, thou art everything. Thou art mine. I have everything. I have everything. I am wealthy. I am rich. I have everything. I have everything. I possess all and everything, even as thou dost. Even as thou dost. I possess everything. I possess everything. Thou art my wealth. I have everything."
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is. And he emphasizes that material success should be used for the betterment of the world,
Okay.
not just personal gain.
So it's about aligning our desires with a higher purpose.
Exactly. He's not advocating for greed or materialism,
Right.
but for using our resources and talents to make a positive difference.
That's a message that really resonates strongly with me, and I think it's something we all need to hear in today's world.
I agree. And his affirmation for spiritual success is equally powerful. It goes, "Thou art knowledge, and thou dost know the cause and end of all things. I am thy child. I want to know life's true mystery, life's true joyous duty. Thy knowledge in me shall show all things that thou dost know, that thou dost know."
Yeah.
This affirmation emphasizes seeking knowledge and understanding,
Okay.
connecting with our true nature as spiritual beings, and finding joy and purpose in life.
It's amazing how all these pieces fit together, cultivating a holistic approach to life that encompasses our physical, mental, and spiritual well-being.
And recognizing that we have the power to create a more fulfilling and meaningful life for ourselves and for others.
Now, he also offers specific affirmations and techniques for addressing particular challenges, right?
Yeah.
Like overcoming bad habits or improving eyesight or even regulating sexual energy.
He offers this really practical toolkit for tackling those everyday issues that can drain our energy and prevent us from living our best lives.
And he even includes some physical exercises, one for strengthening the stomach.
Yes. He recognizes the importance of caring for our physical bodies, as well as our minds and spirits.
It all comes back to that idea of interconnectedness.
Exactly. And speaking of powerful practices, we need to talk about Yogananda's understanding of chanting.
Ah, yes. He goes into detail about the different stages of chanting, from chanting out loud to whispering to chanting mentally, and eventually reaching the subconscious and superconscious levels.
And he clarifies that it's not about becoming unconscious,
Right.
but about achieving a state of deep, focused awareness, where all thoughts merge into one.
It's about transcending the limitations of our usual thinking mind and tapping into a deeper level of consciousness.
Exactly. And he also links chanting to specific areas of the body, like the heart for feeling affirmations, the medulla for energy affirmations, and the spot between the eyebrows for will affirmations.
So he's suggesting that focusing on these areas while chanting can actually amplify the power of the affirmations and even bring about specific changes in our bodies and energy systems.
Yes, it's like a kind of internal energy work, a powerful tool for transformation.
It's really striking how revolutionary Yogananda's teachings were.
Yeah.
He was blending ancient wisdom with modern science in a way that was truly ahead of his time.
His message is definitely more relevant than ever.
Yeah.
Especially in a world that's so focused on the material and the external. Yogananda reminds us about the power of our inner world, the power of the mind and spirit.
He shows us that by cultivating our inner resources, we can create a more fulfilling and meaningful life, both for ourselves and for the world around us.
I couldn't agree more.
I think we need to pause here again.
Oh.
There's so much to unpack in scientific healing affirmations. It's like a treasure trove of wisdom and practical guidance. But we're not done yet. In part 3, we'll explore specific examples of Yogananda's affirmations and discuss how you, the listener, can apply these teachings to your own life.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive into Yogananda's scientific healing affirmations. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Paramahansa Yogananda's scientific healing affirmations. It's been quite a journey so far,
It has.
exploring these powerful concepts of the mind-body connection and the role of faith and creating that holistic approach to healing.
Yeah,
We've covered a lot of ground.
we have.
But as you know, Yogananda's book is packed with practical wisdom.
It is.
So in this last part, let's look at some specific examples of his affirmations and how you, the listener, can actually apply these teachings to your own life.
That's good.
So where do we begin? Yogananda offers a variety of affirmations.
He does.
Each one designed for like specific needs or challenges.
Exactly.
I remember earlier when we talked about the affirmation for improving eyesight.
Yeah.
He encourages you to visualize like life energy flowing into your eyes, transforming them into like powerful searchlights.
A great image.
Yeah, that image really stuck with me. What are some other examples?
Well, he also offers an affirmation for regulating sexual energy.
Oh, okay.
Yogananda recognized that this energy can be very strong.
Yeah.
And potentially disruptive if it isn't channeled properly.
That's interesting. What does he suggest for like managing that energy?
Well, he focuses on cultivating purity and sacredness,
Okay.
both in your thoughts and your actions. He also gives specific techniques for like calming the body and mind during moments of excitement.
So it's about redirecting that powerful energy towards like higher purposes.
Exactly.
Rather than letting it control you.
Right. And he doesn't shy away from the difficulties of overcoming bad habits either.
Oh, right. He has a whole section on that.
He does. He reminds us that good habits are our best helpers, while bad habits can become our worst enemies.
And true freedom comes from making conscious choices.
Yes.
Not being ruled by those automatic habitual patterns.
He suggests crowding out those bad habits with good ones.
Okay.
And cultivating a consciousness of being free from all habits.
So it's about like taking back control of our lives and our actions.
Precisely. And to support this, he offers this really powerful affirmation. Thou art in law. Thou art above all laws. I am thy child. I love thy law. Above all laws am I, even as thou art. Above all laws am I. O ye brave, good soldier habits, drive away the dark, dark habits. Drive away the dark, dark habits. I am free. I am free. I have no habits. I have no habits. I will do what is right. I'll do what's right, uncommanded by habits' might. I am free. I am free. I have no habits. I have no habit.
I love that image of the good habits, like brave soldiers driving away the darkness of bad habits.
It's inspiring, right?
It's so inspiring. So for our listener who might be thinking like, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I actually apply it?
Yeah.
Where would you suggest they start?
Well, I think the first step is to choose an area of your life where you want to see improvement.
Okay.
It could be your physical health. It could be mental clarity, emotional balance, spiritual growth.
Pick something specific that you want to focus on.
Exactly.
That's what's next.
And then from Yogananda's book, choose an affirmation that resonates with you.
Okay.
And speaks to that specific need.
So if I'm like feeling anxious a lot, I might choose an affirmation that focuses on like cultivating peace and calmness.
Exactly. Or if you're struggling with like a physical health challenge, you might choose an affirmation that speaks to healing and vitality.
Now, I know some people might think it's just about like repeating the words over and over again, but there's more to it than that, right?
Absolutely. Remember how Yogananda emphasized feeling, conviction, and faith when using affirmations?
Yes. It's not just like a mental exercise.
It's not. It's about imbuing those words with energy and intention.
Right. Like we talked about before, words have power.
They do. He also suggests visualizing the desired outcome.
Okay.
Creating a mental picture of yourself, already embodying those qualities you want to cultivate.
So if I'm affirming for like better health, I could visualize myself like feeling strong, vibrant, full of energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can combine those practices with other things that support well-being, like meditation or yoga or spending time in nature.
Creating that holistic approach.
Yes.
That nourishes your mind, body, and spirit.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There will be challenges.
Yeah.
And there will be breakthroughs along the way.
So it's important to like stay committed to the practice.
Yeah.
Keep returning to the affirmations and the visualizations. And most importantly, trust the process.
Trust the process. And remember that you're not alone on this journey.
Yeah.
You have the support of that life energy, of the cosmic consciousness, and of all those who have walked this path before you.
That's a really comforting thought. And we also have the support of each other, right? Sharing our experiences can be incredibly helpful and inspiring.
I agree.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into scientific healing affirmations, I encourage you to think about,
Yeah.
what resonated most with you? What are you curious to explore further? What, small step can you take today to apply these teachings?
Remember, you have the power to create positive change within yourself and in the world around you.
So go forth and embrace this healing journey. And don't forget to share your insights and experiences with us on social media using the show hashtag.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, may you be well, and may you find peace and joy on your path.